We'll be back. We'll be back. Bobby, we'll be back.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
We are led, we are
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXE.
And welcome, y'all. It's Taco Tuesday. Sorry I missed yesterday. Manic Monday. Just had a few things happen. I take care of a little business, but we're back here now, Taco Tuesday. Welcome, Mr. Bullet Bob Leone.
Thank you, Haas. Always a pleasure and a fun time to be had by all.
I tell you, I can't wait to get out. I'm like a starving dog in a meat house. All this wisdom we have to impart to everyone out there, which 99.9% of them are way smarter than we are.
Well,
but we're going to live in the fantasy world that we can help them become a little wiser.
There's no doubt about that.
Well, we study
being smarter than me.
Well, they depend on us to go out and get obsessed to the point of selling us over issues, so they don't have to. So we can bring them back here and discuss in detail.
That makes sense.
All the stuff. Yeah. We watch CNN, MSNBC, CBS, so they don't have to bring back what folks want to hear about. Well, we got. We'll hear from Chewy and Jill here in just a second. Here,
where's our engineer?
Can never start. What do we need engineer? They're just on hold. This is live. What do you mean?
Punch the button.
They're on hold there. Chewy always.
I know, but you still got to punch the button. Get them online.
Well, yes, that's true. But we have. He's been online. Chewy, welcome to Taco Tuesday, buddy.
Oh my word!
Sorry,
why do I still laugh?
That just brings a tear to my eye. No, I mean, the man that loves us, no matter where he is in the vast reaches of Mexico,
that's true.
He finds a place that has cell phone service, and calls us in to just give us
far reaches of Michoacan.
Yeah, he is the epitome of loyalty. Also, an unexpected fan of the show because we're fair and balanced. We'll go after whomever, and her husband is in the hot seat right now, and Joe Biden, who's facing some very heavy charges with.
Is Jill Biden on the line?
Jill is on the line. She's a big fan of the show. Jill, welcome.
Si se puede.
Thank you, Jill. You don't anybody tell us this show isn't fair and balanced. Who has Chewy and Jill every Tuesday to do whatever's necessary to call in? Hey, I just want to take a moment here and give a shout out to some of the folks, real loyal fans of the show that have been with us, part of Autry's Army from pretty much from the get-go. And we're going to start some interaction back. We're working things out, where we'll be able to email some questions and that sort of thing, and hopefully get the telephone situation. But it's going to be up and running, first class. We'll have that communication, let's say. But in the meantime, I just want to give a big thank you to some of the folks. I'm going to leave some folks out, I know, but we're going to get them throughout the week. But Vicki Oberholzer, you've been with me personally and the family in this show from beginning to end. Thank you so much. Donna Sotera, thank you. Of course, Laura Fisher, thank you. James Marples, man, what you've been through thick and thin. Thank you for tuning in and logging in every day. Melanie Raymond, Anthony Tedeschi, thank you so much, brother, for what you do and being here at the show and helping us grow here. Lane Holt, Gene Henderson, Debbie Hardy, Annie. You
can't even read your own writing. Put your glasses on.
I see
you old fart.
Come on. Annie, ladle up, Gary Epi. Please pray. Send me a pronunciation on that. Anything over one syllable, I'm in trouble. And that's Sigalini. Thank you. And that's Sigalini. Appreciate you. Michael Wismer, Barbara Jean, Betty Golden, and Donald Cherry. That's just a few.
Dolores Watts, too.
Delora. Oh, gosh. Thank you.
She's been a faithful listener from day one.
Yes. And when you start listing names.
Yeah, you're going to leave somebody out.
Get in
no
trouble.
doubt about
but like
that.
I said, all week, we're going to just give shout outs. I got a lot on my plate, but who doesn't? But I know I don't say thank you enough. But deep, not even deep in my heart, right in my heart, right there at the beginning to the middle to the end of my heart. Thank you for being a part of this show because we have a lot of fun. Hopefully, we're making each other think, laugh, cry sometimes all three. Let's get to Bobby. This Maui fire. Everybody on the left, it seems like, and some moderate Republicans, and I always say this, I'm an independent because I am one of those prehistoric creatures in the political scene. I still have a mind that critically thinks on things, and I just don't go like a sheep to slaughter on some political agenda. I see issues. I judge them on their merit. I judge individuals' actions on their merits. I don't just look through a Republican, Democratic prism. I look at it basically going right or wrong. Start off, and then what's best for America, because I think what's best for America, if we keep our souls in the right place, is best for the world. Certainly what's not best for China is best for the world. You haven't taken a look at that system, or Russia, or whatever. But this thing in Maui that they're trying to hang at the doorstep of climate change, Bobby, we're finding out that it's a much more simpler answer in terms of what happened. Well, what you tell folks?
Well, a couple of things. And then I'll let you bring up your point that we discussed briefly before the show. There was a protocol in place for just such an incident that could occur on any of the islands, is my understanding. And that is when certain criteria are met, i.e. hurricane, high winds, whatever, that the local power and electric company had a protocol in place to turn off the power and shut it down immediately because of the fear of poles falling over, arcing, getting into the dry lands, which I know is part of your speech. But so there was a protocol in place, and it happened to be just a bad play on words, a perfect storm where this happened. And they didn't turn off the power because they said they wanted to make sure everybody was notified and all of these kinds of things before they did that. And unfortunately, too little, too late. And you see what happened. It was very sad for me. I've been to Maui 7 times. And the wife and I, and even when the girls were little, walked up and down Front Street. I mean, that was the main drag of Lahaina. Walked up, had a cheeseburger in Paradise, had a nice cheeseburger there, Jimmy Buffett's place, and went to a lot of the restaurants on the place. Had a few too many beers at most of them.
That can happen.
But just an absolutely historic, iconic place, and to see what's happened to it. And now with your further information on what you found out about it and how this could have been avoided, it just makes it all the more sad.
Yeah, it's like they either panicked or the system, you had individuals just making own personal choices about what they're going to do rather than following the plan, following the training, which is always the best course of action in something like this. Florida they're masters at it because they get hit with hurricanes all the time. They're a well-oiled machine on how they react. And I guess just the combo of the hurricane and the fire, it's like they choked. You had the guy that was the head of the water allocation department, who is one of these woke climate crazies. And sure, there's climate change. There's always been climate change. I'm not making fun of the fact that we should address it in some way, but we should address it in a real way. That's an effective way. And understand that man is not the only contributor to this climate change. To do that, to think we can be God, and if we just stop emitting, if we just shut the economy down and kill every cow so they don't fart anymore, that suddenly the climate would be perfect. That's an insane thing to embrace. Yeah, you do what you can as human beings, but you're still going to have that problem. But it seems like in Hawaii, and I tell you, Hawaii is a pretty reliably blue state. They've gone Democrat big time, and one could even. I don't know if you could say woke, Bobby. I know in Hawaii there's still mama and daddy. There's one gender there. There's two genders there, and they still holding fast the Samoan culture there, the Hawaiian culture, but they're getting hit left and right in the school system by all of this craziness. But they are blue. The climate change agenda, the New Green Deal, they've embraced 100% to the point where you couldn't even remove the brush, the dried pineapple. See what happened? Development came decades and decades ago and turned what used to be pineapple fields and sugarcane fields, which sugarcane does use a lot of water, and they want to conserve water. Why they don't build a desalination plant like Israel, I have no idea. Maybe they will now. It's common sense. But they went away from that ag exportation to the hospitality business, tourism. So a lot of that land, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres were left fallow while the economy embraced tourism as their biggest source of income, kind of a one sector driven thing. Well, what happened? All those crops dried up. They knew better. They knew that it was a fire hazard. I guess they surrounded an island. I guess, well, there's all this water. What's the chances of a fire just getting out of control? Well, you got to prepare for the unthinkable. What happens if you have a fire mixed with a hurricane and you have it go crazy? Again, there's an example, and we have this in California. These far left wokesters are controlling policymakers where you don't even have the common sense to clean up dry brush that just turns into a tinderbox. You just one little spark, and you have what you had in Hawaii, and it's really near and dear to us, Bobby, because we've had several wildfires. One of them completely destroyed a little town right near us, and you find out eerily the same sort of thing happened here that happened in Hawaii, here in Central California. And it was tremendous loss of life, not quite to the extent of Hawaii, but how many people have to die before you call it it's a disaster?
There you go.
Yeah, and same deal. PG&E lines fell, ignited this dry vegetation. It got out of control, and we had many more measures in place. Our folks really responded, but you can't respond fast enough if you don't do common sense things. And that's what I'm talking about, the absolute craziness of some of these woke policies. And they even crazier people or act crazy. I'm not condemning them. God's between them and God on their actions. But I will say this, if you don't do the common sense things like this, clean up that brush that you know if it catches on fire could result in extreme devastation and probably loss of life, you do have blood on your hands. You do when you know better. And most of these elected officials, I don't care how liberal they are, know better than to follow the most extreme aspects of the woke agenda, which one of them is just let the brush sit there and get dry. Don't clean it up. If we have a fire, it's just, well, that's just a cost of being a real true blue wokester, to really care about it. Am I being too cynical?
Well,
maybe I am.
It's interesting you mentioned that, Haas, because I remember
the old days.
Our first trip to Maui, I think, was in 1995, and there were pineapple fields galore.
Yeah.
Galore. Now, we haven't been there for about 9 years, but the last time we went, which was in 2014 or whenever it was, 90% of the fields on the way into Lahaina were no longer. There were no longer pineapple fields there. And I thought, obviously, that gave a nice touch to the local economy, and it was just neat to see pineapple fields. I mean, we don't see them around here, and really, they had been fallowed, buildings, new homes, developments, and everything over there, and really sad to see. But that when they weren't building homes, they were just left, and that steps right into your point of, you got to clean this stuff up, and nothing happened.
And how about this guy? I listened to him. He's the water manager in Hawaii, this young guy. And you do a little background on him. He's absolutely 100% behind the Green New Deal woke agenda. and he wouldn't release the water to the fire department.
What?
Because of water equity. And you're saying, young man, are you watching the news? Your island is burning down. Who's going to be alive on Maui for you to disperse the water to in an equitable fashion if you don't put out this freaking fire that's killing children? And he sat there and defended it. Now, I don't expect him to be around much longer. And knowing some of the Hawaiian people, because there is a Hawaiian mafia. I have a story about that. I was directly involved in college football scandal that made Sports Illustrated on how the powers that be in Hawaii, they're still there, just like the mob is still in New York. And these folks are not going to put up with what happened there. I'm not wishing harm on anybody. I'm just saying when this thing happens like it does, you didn't do the right thing, and you don't just own up, because they're very forgiving people in Hawaii. But when you try to make excuses for the inexcusable, that's when people get upset, and that's when they need to. Long story short, this guy needs to go. I'm sure he will. Maui will be rebuilt, and hopefully we can all learn something about the silliness and the foolishness and the destruction and the danger of embracing unquestionably this and cavalierly and arbitrarily this new Green Deal agenda in every single aspect of it. Because it can kill you. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat. We'll be right back. Guillermo Moreno's going to join us.
Who?
Guillermo Moreno. Mrs. Moreno's boy.
Love is a
burning thing. What?
Yeah, I don't want to start.
If you would have said just hold off, I would have held off. You said start. Hey, I'm going to read. You said start. I thought you had so we didn't want to date you.
I'm starting to think it's you too.
Because you got to ride your horse to Reedley, right? So it takes you a little bit longer there. Class starts at 1?
Yeah.
I'm glad. I don't think I told you this, but I am so happy that you're teaching a poli-sci class over there. So you can make sure that these kids' minds aren't filled with mush, but filled with truth and accuracy. And I'm really glad about that. And I'm not BSing you. I'm serious about that. I'm serious about
the basics. Yeah. And then they can decide. It's just the basics.
Yeah, but I think the academia needs a lot more like you.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Did you ever hear poli-sci? Sounds like this. What? What's wrong? He's teaching poli-sci.
That's so bad.
Teach them how to. Did you ever
have
poly in to show them how to sci?
You've taken the blood off your shoulders, and that's commendable. And
look at them broad shoulders there. Samsonex Atlas.
Oh yeah.
That's his new name. Guillermo Atlas Moreno.
My body is almost as godlike as Vivek's. Almost. Not there yet.
We're going to talk about Vivek.
Almost. He's got a lot more.
Archie Bunch again. Well, yeah, look at him there. It's like Atlas shoulders on his shoulders.
But you said it you're right. He had no backhand.
No backhands.
And they were all someone was feeding him the ball.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Come on. Don't try to fool.
Yeah,
You know what he knew? He knew that the millennial vote was already his. He was just trying to fool the old boomers. Oh, those old people will never know. They'll never see.
Oh, no.
Surprise, Vivek.
And I'm the tennis player. I was impressed. I was like, man, look at that. He had no backhand.
When you look at me, I know you're going to freak, but just remember, it's not Vivek, it's Vivek. I'm getting a whole rap song for it. You hear about that?
I love it.
No. Oh, we're ready to go.
All right, ready to go.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
He did a video with him out in tennis showing his physique.
Oh.
He's actually hitting the ball pretty good. Like Dvorak, what is it?
Djokovic? No, I wouldn't say that.
Well, he's too tall. So it's more like Andre
Agassi.
Yeah.
Roger Federer.
No.
Federer just looks like he's dancing, floating.
Well, we're ready. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Are you a tennis player?
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
And welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat. It's Taco Tuesday here with Bullet Bob Leone and Sir Rantalot, Mr. Guillermo Moreno.
Here.
Well, did you see that Mr. Marshall Mathers, otherwise known as Eminem, has issued
candy.
A cease and desist order to Vivek Ramaswamy.
Really?
He can't rap anymore.
Can't use his music.
Yeah, you didn't see that?
No, Vivek was using his music?
Yeah. Well, he did that rap song. You saw that. We were
I
talking
thought
about
you
it
were
during the break.
joking.
No, you haven't heard
I
his
have
rap.
not.
Oh, he first did it when he graduated Harvard, 2002. I guess there's some video gone viral of him rapping the same song. Then it was at some campaign deal, and he took the mic. You usually see everything. You're slipping, man.
I am slipping.
You have not
got
seen
too many irons
the
in
rap.
Look at our party. We're a bunch of felons and rappers now, huh?
Yeah, well, anyway, he can't use it anymore. I guess Marshall Mathers, a.k.a. Eminem, does not want to give it into politics. In fact, so much so that he doesn't want to be a part of politics, that he's changing his name. Eminem.
Oh, what is he changing his name to?
From Eminem to Black Lives Matters.
Hold on, back this train up.
How does this man think of this stuff?
And I think that's a good move by him.
Hold on, wait. So first of all, let's just address
BLM. That's what she goes. It's not Eminem now. It's BLM.
So
Black Lives Matter.
So Eminem,
not Jerry Matters. He's the beaver.
Not Jerry.
Jerry matters.
He's the beaver.
Jerry doesn't matter. So
you're not talking about our mayor.
No,
are you?
No,
don't go there. Are you going to go local on us? We're here going national issues, and you're going to go local.
He got more money for downtown. That's going to make it all better.
I heard he was in Germany.
Is he? No.
Somebody said he went to Germany.
Yeah, he showed pictures on Facebook in Germany drinking a beer.
What was he doing in Germany?
Drinking a beer.
Do you think Fresno needs to know how to drink beer? We drink beer.
He said he was over there for some kind of conference on infrastructure of the inner city or something.
Oh, I can't wait to the state of city. He's going to be up there. I must see everyone's papers. Are you truly a citizen of Fresno? Excuse me.
We're going to get kicked off for sure.
I must make a phone call. What is your name? Miguel Arias? Do you have papers to prove that? Excuse me. I must make a phone call to Stuttgart.
Our engineer has
let me see
quickly pulled up.
That's more money to downtown. Because that's because that's going to make it all better.
But will it ever?
There's some ties. There's some photos in there from.
So he got a key to a city
from Germany.
No, we're giving someone a
that
key.
Mustache. It reminds me of somebody from Germany.
Munster. His name was Munster.
I can't remember what is.
Oh, you're right.
What is it?
Today we explored the number one mode. Oh my! Here we go. Jerry Dyer, August 22nd, Germany. Today we explored the number one mode of transportation in Munster: cycling.
Oh, right!
Exclamation! Love it. I would prefer that he go there and discover how to make cheese, some Munster cheese. We could actually build a factory here rather than about transportation.
Create jobs.
Yeah, a Mercedes in every garage. That's vote for me on a second term. Tired of that old used Volkswagen? Oh, that's German too. Sorry. Let's get back on the national scene.
Okay.
I don't even know what to say.
Okay. Take a load off, Fannie.
All right.
Fannie Willis in Fulton County. This woman, bless her heart. She, there is anger. Then there's frothing anger. Then there's insane, crazy anger and hate that you have for individuals. This lady has gone so far off the deep end. Just about to think about it. She's going to bring a RICO indictment like they do with the mob. 19 freaking people conspired in less than 48 hours to sell their enterprise. You got to have an enterprise, by the way. Prostitution, drugs, whatever, use the RICO law. You got to be involved in something that you have illegalized, that you've taken over illegally. So still the enterprise.
Nobody cares about the actual law.
Is
the
the enterprise is to overturn the election was the enterprise. That's what she's stretching the law, RICO law. But you have 19. You're going to have each one has a lawyer. They're not. You can try them together, but you don't have one lawyer representing them all. You have 19, at least 19. Trump's got 4 or 5, 25, 30 lawyers. You're going to have motion after motion after motion. and she wants to start the trial in October. Month after next.
Yeah. Justice must be served.
Well, how did it begs the question, because I spent 7 years in Georgia. Good, smart people. How in the world did you elect these people? I guess the same way L.A. Gascon in L.A., the guy
Gavin Newsom in California.
But the DAs, this Jethro Bodine, up in Bodine.
Jason Bodine.
They got rid of him. They ran him out. San Francisco even wised up.
Yeah.
I would never think I'd hear myself say that the vast voting block of people in Atlanta are just like they are in San Francisco. You're talking about the Deep South. Well, go ahead. This is obviously
well, let me answer your question.
Insane.
And I heard Brian Kilmeade talk about it this morning on his radio show. He said that Democrats don't campaign anymore. They run ballot harvesting organizations. That's how they win elections. They're not winning elections anymore. The new governor of Arizona that defeated Carrie Lake, she was a horrible candidate. She won. It was a ballot harvesting. You look at John Fetterman, ballot harvesting. So the Democrats don't campaign anymore. They run ballot harvesting operations. I'm sorry, conservatives are the idiots that do we campaign? And that's Joe Biden is barely starting his campaign, and he's starting it because he's got to make it look like he's campaigning. I've told the right many times, we are going to lose, and people really, really take offense when I say Trump will lose next year. And that's going to be because we don't have ballot harvesting operations, number one. And even if we did, Mrs. Jones is not going, Mrs. Conservative Jones is not going to hand over her ballot to anyone that comes to her door. Conservatives treat that like it's the Constitution of the United States. We're not going to hand over ballots. So until we figure out how to run some pretty darn good ballot harvesting operations, we're dead in the water.
Yeah. Pearl?
Well, yeah, I agree with a lot of that. There's nothing. What are you going to say to that? And the other way to campaign is to just let the Republicans hang themselves with all of the alleged scandals and everything else.
What scandals we have
that are going? Well, talking about Trump.
Oh,
so instead of doing their own campaign, they campaign using the alleged malfeasance of Donald Trump to support themselves and then they do the ballot harvesting. So they don't have to do a lot like Joe Biden. What's Joe Biden going to campaign on? His record?
I want to ask you this real quick, and we might be off topic, but does Joe Biden's truly RICO organization?
Well, now there you go. There's the RICO.
Does that really bother you guys?
Yeah,
because it doesn't to me at all.
It does because we have kids and grandkids. I think. Wouldn't you agree with that, Robert?
Yeah.
When you're going to leave a country behind, something that's part of you that you love so much, and you worry about the kind of world you're leaving behind. You see the rest of the world turning to Russia and China and Iran. And you see them building up this economic juggernaut called BRICS, and you see us just squandering it away, and you wonder what kind of life your kids are going to have. I think it does.
Why doesn't that bother you?
I think it's a waste of time because at the end of the day, it's not going to bear the fruit. Nothing's going to come out of it. Nothing's going to come out of it.
Joe Biden?
Yeah, we're going to waste.
Well, I'll make you a wager on that. I'm down at Bobby Salazar's. I'll bet you a lunch that he'll get impeached. There's no doubt there will be an impeachment process. I think the Democrats want him gone as much as anybody. They will put up token resistance on CNN. They're starting to do that now. They're starting to cover the Hunter Biden story because there's so much smoke now. You're seeing the fire through the flames.
They're defending Hunter Biden. They're not. I want to say they're covering. Are they really?
Well, if you watch a lot of it, see, I'm sick. I watch that stuff all the time. Fox, CNN, MSNBC. No, I mean, I freely admit I watch too much of that stuff. I go on here. I wait pretty much every article that comes out. I mean, I'm really fun to be around. That's my wife.
Mr. Excitement.
And I am seeing a trend. Places like the Atlantic, the Washington Post, CNBC. Amazing, I even know these.
Yeah.
It just gives you the Guardian, all these things, and I'm seeing the ship turning. They know that there's toast. The fact of the matter is, right off the bat, why would the son of a vice president do something so unseemly to be on the board in a corrupt Eastern European country to begin with. You would not have Donald Trump. You wouldn't have anybody with the Bush administration, even the Clinton administration. Chelsea Clinton would not be on a board called Burisma in the Ukraine.
That's so true.
You know that he was on crack, addicted over there. They know. They fed it. They had the puppet there with the prostitutes, the drug use. The president of Ukraine knew that. Then you had Joe Biden basically on tape committing treason. He's basically selling American policy when he says, I want this guy fired. And he's recounting the story. He says, well, the president of Ukraine says, you can't do that.
Son of a...
So he goes, well, he says, call the president. Now, you know they didn't call the president, which nobody's covering this.
Oh, man. Preach it.
If that happened.
Preach it, Alan.
If that happened, if Joe Biden was for once telling the truth there, and Biden told President Barack Obama, I'm going to go over to Ukraine, and we're not giving them this $1 billion, Mr. President, unless they fire the prosecutor. The guy's named Victor Shogun. By the way, the liberal press went to work on him, said he was corrupt, this and that. We're finding out now he was not corrupt. He's very well respected. He just said, I'm going after Burisma. And there's a lot of crazy stuff that's unexplainable. And you have a crackhead on there named Hunter Biden, and I'm going to go investigate it. And when Joe Biden said, call the president, when is the press going to say, wait a minute, did Barack Obama actually give the okay to Joe Biden to go over there,
sure,
go
did.
fire? Is not that president complicit in the sale of American posse
Sure he is.
for personal gain, not just for you, Joe Biden, but your son and 9 other family members? You have shell corporations set up all over the place. Classic, as you said, RICO case.
Mm-hmm.
Is right. I don't, just on that tape alone, on the policy of saying you got to fire this prosecutor, no background check on the prosecutor, no evidence other than I don't want him in there. And if you don't get rid of him, you don't get the $1 billion. On that alone, you have an impeachable offense. You have charges for that for the vice president to be brought up on. Not to mention all the follow-up business that you did and the millions. So it is going to come of something. And I think that is their ace in the hole, is that you're going to let this Republican committee go bit by bit. I think they still think they can defeat Trump if he's the nominee. But
impeachable, but not removable.
What's that?
I think.
Well, if the
they won't remove him.
Doesn't, but if the impeachment is successful,
yeah,
he gets removed.
I guess here's my thought on that. Unfortunately, the American public, not enough of them care about the Biden crime family. Oh, some do. I'm not gonna. Yeah, some of their eyes have been opened, but the reality is he is still polling within the margin of difference of Donald Trump.
Well.
So for them, this is what we would need to see, I think, America, to say, you know what, I think we're done with Biden. You need a smoking gun. I mean, you need a video. You need something. You need something that's so But him saying, "Oh, we got the son of a, we got him fired."
No. Step back. The old saying that Thomas Sowell says. It's actually true. I say it a lot. It doesn't matter how smart you are. You're very, very smart. Most people out there are a lot smarter than me. But it doesn't matter how smart you are if you don't stop and think. We've seen this video so much that we can become jaded. Yeah. I do that with a movie script. I'll start writing a script, and it takes me about a year to write it. And then about 7 months through, I'm saying, this isn't any good. I've been with it so much. I've read this scene so many times. But I'm forgetting people are looking at it for the first time. They'll be seeing it for the first time, this movie. This video, in the context of all the other information, is as incriminating of circumstantial evidence that it transcends circumstantial. It may not be an eyewitness that I was in the room when Joe Biden made the deal, but to say you don't get the billion, the burden of proof is going to be on this president to prove that he got no financial reward for that, or his family. And he doesn't have to personally gain before it is bribery. That's what people don't understand.
True. Absolutely.
If your family members gain, you're a law professor. That's the thing. I don't see any escape route. If you had a Democratic House I would say he could slide through and he'll die before, if he ever is held accountable for this. But with the Republican House, and I'm saying this non-politically, thank God for that, because America does need to be cleaned up to some degree, to the best we can. And some people think it means getting rid of Trump, right over the election, Biden. But in terms of actual charges that merit removal or merit not running again, it's clearly the charges facing Joe Biden. And you're getting now people on CNN saying this. They're saying, I can't, in fact, Van Jones, I saw him the other day, and they asked him about this, and he took a deep breath. And I'm paraphrasing, but not much, by much. He says, well, Joe Biden, his actions, I don't know if I can continue to give a good defense for this.
That's why you need a smoking gun, Al.
He only said that because of the smoking gun, the tape, and the information to back up the tape. They have that.
But by smoking gun, I mean something that's so egregious, like they have Swiss bank accounts.
They do. They have shell companies. In fact, they thought they were so covered that Jim Biden and his counterpart over in Ukraine says it would take them 20 years to unravel this. They money laundered it through shell corporations, which is a core component of RICO law violation when you're selling an enterprise. Their enterprise was selling American influence through Joe Biden, selling American policy, because they asked Hunter Biden, the board people there, hey, we need help here because Shogun's coming after us. We need help from D.C. They have the time. They have the timeline. Within a few days after that ask was made to Hunter Biden, Joe Biden made his trip out of nowhere to Ukraine, made the statement, get rid of the prosecutor or you don't get the billion. Within several days after the removal of the prosecutor, so everybody breathed a sigh of relief there, the crooked board there, including Hunter Biden, that's when millions of dollars were transferred to these shell companies from Ukraine. I mean, you can convict a person for murder without circumstantial evidence. Hey, O.J. Simpson, we all know, even the jurors, that he was guilty. I mean, the DNA, you got the blood, you got the glove, you had the fact that he ran. Oh, I mean, did somebody see him nearly cut his wife's head off? No, but the circumstantial evidence was so overwhelming that you can convict people on circumstantial evidence without an eyewitness. I mean, they're smoking guns all over the place in this case.
But how do you and me and reasonable people that are keeping up with this, yeah, we can see it. But how do you sell it to the rest of the nation
I think
that doesn't want to see it?
Well, I think they do want to see it. Let's put it this way. You're never going to get, and I don't know what percentage of the voters who voted for Biden are in this category I'm about to describe. I probably more than I would like, more than I'm sad. But a lot of people voted for Biden because they were against Trump, a lot of the independents. They didn't like the way Trump conducted himself. They thought Biden was going to come in, settle things down, bring people together, be the empathetic old man that was going to be able to heal the wounds between the right and the left and bring honor back to us on the world stage. I mean, that was why a lot of, especially suburban housewives, said they voted for him. So you have that percentage, which probably put him over the top. So you have then what's left. And we're seeing a disturbingly growing amount of supporters of Biden and the woke agenda, and especially among younger millennials and Generation Z that are starting to turn out and vote now, that are looking at this wokeism and their candidate that they put up, not just as a political affinity, a political ideology that they believe in. They actually embrace it as a secular religion, which means rather than do something to better the right now, to make the world a better place, like in Maui, to make changes in how you do things there, that the woke agenda may have been had some part to play in that disaster. The fact that you've destroyed an economy because you won't use any fossil fuels. You have an open border that's just destroying communities. So here's the thing, what happens with that? You literally will die for the cause. You'll go down thinking morally you've done the right thing. Now, what's a precedent for this? Historically, the one that comes to mind, not the Nazi Germany. Hitler was powerful, but he was never lionized in a almost religious sense the way Hirohito was in Japan. Here, Emperor Hirohito, and you talk to the Japanese, they were taught he was something mystical about him. He was above human. He wasn't really human. It was a cause bigger than that. That's why you saw kamikazes. They would fly their planes for the cause. That's why you had to drop 2 atomic bombs to get these folks to give up. They would go down the ship. It didn't matter if the country was destroyed. How much of that religious zeal, that religious dogma is at work with these people on the woke left? I think a disturbingly high percentage would say, destroy America, destroy all the principles. We hate this country and its institutions. It's irreparably racist. That's where you get that word systemically racist.
I hope that's not the case.
The deal is you judge by what you see.
A lot of folks out there
like that. And you're seeing people that would rather tear it down and see it burn to their and start over again in their very limited and flawed, some would say borderline crazy way of looking at things. That could actually be done, that you could actually burn the system down, still have an economy that would function and put food on your table, a little Antifa person, and you'd still be having your Xbox, and you'd still be having all the time to go out and burn down buildings because you can come back and go buy, In-N-Out burger afterwards, and their economy is so devastated you don't have any of these material things you take for granted because you've burnt every institution down unless you swear allegiance to China. And so that's what I knows at play here. Is it stoppable? Can America turn it around? I think you have to, but you have to borrow the Republicans, Guillermo. I think you have to do exactly what you're saying. Not only ballot harvest, they have to do a Vivek Ramaswamy. By the way, I don't think he's the man. You know how much I respect the man. He's made a couple of stances now, and I'll tell you why probably on tomorrow's show.
Vivek?
Vivek. Yeah. Of why I think he's just not quite ready. I think he's going to be a major player in the political scene for a long, long time. But he goes boldly goes where no Republican has gone. He goes right into the inner city. He said, here's what I believe. All these politicians are running from something. I want to run to something. I want to America. That resonates with the minority community just like with anybody else. And that's why you're seeing his poll numbers rise. You're not seeing a lot of hardened Republicans leave Trump or DeSantis or even some of Pence's moderates.
Yeah.
You're seeing polls, because they don't poll, of a lot of independents and some Democrats going for Ramaswamy because he said, if you don't believe in your message, take it into what you consider a hostile country, go right into Harlem. Have a town hall meeting there. It doesn't matter if they shout you down. You stay in there.
Yeah.
Reagan took a pie. Go ahead.
And he can do that. Vivek is now, when you look at it, is in a very opportune political position because Donald Trump will more than likely be in and out of court next campaign season. Whoever his number 2 is going to be is going to have to be a split image of him with more vigor because he's going to be the main guy on the campaign trail. So when you look at Vivek, he's come out at just the right time to be able to do that. And he's minority. He can go into those places. I mean, listen, I don't want to play the race card, but Ron DeSantis can't go into Harlem. It'll be weird. Mike Pence, I mean, it won't be as weird as Mike Pence going into Harlem, but let's just be real.
Do you want to see his points go up? A couple. I'm not going to go crazy and say, but it would definitely go up a couple points. If Mike Pence, lily white establishment, old school,
white guy,
die in the wool, white the lifer,
why does it come?
Would do a tour of urban America, go in there, let them boo him out, do it, and go on to give your speech, ask for questions, and you know what? Get on your bus and go to the next urban city. That's what Ramaswamy's doing. Now, I will admit, Ramaswamy is Ramaswimming against the current, but he's, well, all right, I'll just let him. We got a few minutes left. We'll pick it up tomorrow, Pearl. But and Bob, you jump in here anytime. Yeah. his solution in Ukraine is to decouple Russia from China. To me, that denotes a very naive. I've been to China. Yeah, I know you have. But you're not going to, geographically, it doesn't make sense for Russia to turn its back on China. That horse has left the barn. Your policy should be peaceful coexistence with BRICS. There's an old saying, truth will set you free, but a person will make you miserable. I'm going to tell you the miserable truth. And I'm as sure as I'm sitting here right now. They asked the question, what's America going to do if China goes after Taiwan? Do you know what the 100%, and very few times do I feel 100%, so maybe 90, 95. But I will tell you right now, what America is going to do when China makes its move on Taiwan? Nothing. We have zero power militarily at all.
Well, I want to say that.
No,
I want to say we have zero power.
We have zero. You
we have zero willpower to use it.
There is no way,
but
if we decided to move on Cuba, that China, with all of their arsenal and all of their navy, could come over and even remotely put a dent in our military aspirations to take over Cuba. It's economically impossible. They'll be stretched. We're already sunk down in Ukraine for as long as it takes. Our economy's going $32 trillion. You know how many trillion you would have to go in debt to defend Taiwan just in money and materials? You're talking about 50, 60, 70 trillion dollars in debt. The American dollar would be absolutely worthless. While BRICS is putting together a new currency based around the yuan that's backed by gold. And they've already gotten Africa in the fold because America wants Africa to just stay an agricultural country. You know why all these countries are going towards China and Russia? Because they say, we're going to let you industrialize Africa. We're not going to show racism to you. America just wants you to stay as farmers. They don't want you to industrialize. Why? The New Green Deal. Because you'll pollute too much if you industrialize. And you have these other, Russia, China, the BRICS coalition. That's why they're getting president after president. That's why you got a guy as smart as the Prime Minister of India coming on board and openly being part of BRICS. There's trouble in River City, folks, and we got to stop thinking that we can flex our muscle around the world in a nuclear world with combined nuclear warheads. You got Russia and China combined over 3,000 nuclear warheads. We have 1,200. You tell me how you're going to afford to expand your Navy, expand your Army, expand your Air Force, expand your Space Force, expand whatever it's needed, still feed people home, keep the dollar strong, keep your borders safe, and save Taiwan. I'm sorry. Truth will set you free. I knew if I was going to play pro football, I didn't have speed. I didn't play in a lot of big football games. I knew I had to face the fact that I'm slow. I don't have experience, so how do I make that up? I just worked hard. But I addressed the truth. The only thing America can do is peacefully coexist, put parameters and boundaries over your own interest. If you come into Cuba, you're going to pay a price. We're going to get you. We need to start firming up our relationship with Mexico and Canada promptly, right away. That's where our resources should go, in Mexico, and get in that situation. So you have a coalition to face BRICS. Who is your real ally, America, Joe Biden, in Western Europe? Who is really going to stand behind you besides England? In the Middle East, who is your real ally? Israel. And you want to throw them to the dogs.
Yeah.
Well, who in Africa? South Africa? Name me one African nation that is unabashedly pro-American. It's called zero. We are isolating ourselves in a cloak of arrogance and this false belief, this dream that we're still the superpower that can say to the rest of the world, jump, and they say, how high? And you say crap, and the country says, what color?
Alan, you have laid out beautifully. I mean, anything I say is not gonna even.
No, I'm listening to what you're saying.
I
hope.
Dang it! I was gonna give more
Pick
arrogance.
Pick it up tomorrow on Wednesday.
We're too big to fail.
Okay, pick that up for tomorrow. All right. Because I want to hear that. Okay. And I'm sorry I took up the thing, but hey, I had a role. I had to get that out.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Folks, God bless. Love you. Just do your best. Let God do the rest, and things are going to be fine. See you tomorrow on Big Wednesday. Bullet Bob, thank you so much. Loretta, Jeremy, All you listeners, I love y'all. See you tomorrow, hopefully. Bye-bye now.
Who cares about the clouds?